any sufferer would know, you've sort of grown up with it.
It's a full commitment that you have to give them to make sure they can lead a reasonably normal life.
Because we need to do what your question says, go out the life-threatening bit. This means that patients with CF die at a younger age than the normal population.
Cystic fibrosis is the most common life-threatening inherited disease in the UK. Over 9,000 people have cystic fibrosis, also known as CF. However, over 2 million people carry the faulty gene that causes the condition, working out as every one person in 25. The Cystic Fibrosis Trust is the UK's only national charity dealing with all aspects of CF. Since 2001, the Trust have been working alongside the Gene Therapy Consortium, raising money for research into the faulty gene and how it can be corrected. Now, 11 years and over £30 million later, the first clinical trial of the corrected gene is ready to take place. This is news which comes with more of a personal benefit to me, as I myself am a CF sufferer. So what is cystic fibrosis? It is caused when you inherit both faulty genes from your parents and affects internal organs such as the pancreas and liver, but mainly affects the lungs. Essentially, the lungs get clogged with thick, sticky mucus. This restricts breathing and means patients regularly have to keep active and keep clearing their chest. Failure to do so leads to chest infections and other CF-related bugs, which can deteriorate the lungs and cause permanent, life-threatening damage. So after securing the funding for the trials through the Efficacy and Mechanism Evaluation Programme, this is why the Gene Therapy Consortium are identifying the lungs as their main priority to treat first. The trials are scheduled to start in the next couple of weeks and will take at least 2 years to complete, meaning the earliest the drug may become available will be in spring 2014. However, to outline the potential difference it could make, these are the treatments I take for my lungs every day, with these added on if I'm unwell, and these for other aspects that aren't lung related. If the trial is a success, the drug could potentially abolish all lung related treatment, which evidently is the majority of it, and would ultimately provide a lot more freedom, so it's quite easy to see why this is quite big news. In spite of the trials going ahead, I travelled to London to meet Professor Eric Alton, who is head of the Gene Therapy Consortium. Eric has been working in CF for 25 years and has been a focal figure in the progression of the gene therapy project.
So the consortium, I think, is quite unique. So about 10 years ago, we'd all been working separately. There's a group in Edinburgh, a group in Oxford and a group in London, my own group here. And one day the Cystic Fibrosis Trust brought us together one evening and said, this is ridiculous. You can't all be working in competition. Wouldn't it be better if we put our money into one grouping? And that evening, that's when the consortium was born about 10 years ago. So we share all our resources, we don't compete with each other. And I think we're much more like a pharmaceutical company rather than a group of academics typically.
Will the gene therapy cancel the need for any other CF chest treatments?
The hope is that what we will do is once someone is born with cystic fibrosis, we will immediately do gene therapy, prevent any lung disease, and then your very good point saying we don't need any treatment. Now, I don't know somewhere in between there when will it happen that you can withdraw treatment. So as gene therapy becomes more and more effective, obviously we'll withdraw more and more of the treatments. One of the analogies we often use is like the Wright brothers with their aeroplane. The first aeroplane only flew 50 yards. But it didn't fly across the English Channel, and that took a few more years to happen. So I think this happens in stages. So I think we just need to be careful of our expectations. I have no doubt we will fly across the Channel and around the world, but I think it happens in stages.
Despite what Eric said was positive, the reality of the corrected gene seems an eternity away, as I attend my regular clinic at Coventry's Walsgrave Hospital. Patients are expected to attend clinic every 6 to 8 weeks and see a physio, dietitian and finally the doctor to make sure they are keeping well.
People with CF need to take regular medications in order to stay well, so take tablets, a number of tablets, up to 30 or 40 tablets per day. People with CF usually need to take inhaled medications or nebulized medications to control the wheeziness in their chest or to control infections in their lungs, which can take up to an hour per day to take those treatments. And also about 50 to 60% develop diabetes eventually and need to take insulin to control their blood sugars. So there's quite a lot required to stay well.
Although it's not my favourite place, the hospital is a great way of making sure you're keeping healthy, and after going through the normal routine, I wanted to find out the doctor's perspective on the trials and what effect the drug would have upon the clinic.
If it is shown to be effective, then that will be a great step forward. Then we will hopefully be able to offer that to patients. It may well be quite expensive, and therefore we'll need to work out how and when it can be used. And it would be a potential consequence that patients may not go on to develop lung damage due to CF. And we hope that people being born today with CF will be living into their 50s and 60s on average, which is clearly a great improvement.
Although the hope for future patients is looking positive, Nathan Charles is a CF sufferer who is a living example that CF doesn't have to act as a barrier, as Nathan is also a professional rugby player, and not once did he think the disease was going to stop him from achieving his dream.
Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a rugby player. I've always loved it, and it's a family sport. So growing up, I really thank Mum and Dad for looking after me for what they did, and now just having a good link with doctors and close family support.
Nathan is an admirable figure to all CF patients, not only with his peak physical condition, but with the hope he gives that anything is possible. And now Nathan is doing his part to make sure the disease doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, sort of over the last 12 months became the National Ambassador of Cystic Fibrosis Australia. I guess just creating a wider awareness of exactly what it is. I guess using my profile in rugby union, how people can help, and hopefully one day a cure is found.
Like Nathan, I have witnessed firsthand the hard work my parents have done to keep me healthy and raise awareness. Julie Forder is a parent to 23-year-old son Dale, who is also a CF sufferer, and despite hearing the brilliant news of the trials taking place, she can't stress enough the commitment that both the parents and their children must continue to show. And on behalf of all CF sufferers, I can't reinforce it enough.
I think the commitment is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it's the dad, the mum or both together. I don't want to sound dramatic, but you go to bed and you're thinking of CF, you wake up and it's there. And there are times when you even dream about CF. You do not stop. It's your son, your daughter, and you want to give your 100% to keep them well so that when the cure comes, they're going to benefit and they can live a long and happy and fulfilled life. So the commitment is absolutely total. He does want to lead a normal life, so there are times when he gets absolutely frustrated with us, but that's part and parcel.
So you're still heavily involved in his CF now, and probably still will be for the foreseeable future?
We will care for him for the rest of his life. It doesn't end, and it won't end until we can all say that we've found a cure. The commitment from young people and the parents has got to be 100%. I listened to the news today and you think, yes, it's going to happen, but you can't rest on your laurels. You've got to keep working hard so your child is as healthy as possible to receive the treatment so that they can lead such an active and normal life that everyone deserves.
Will it take the life-threatening part of the disease? Will it take that description away from the title?
That's, again, a very good question. That's exactly what I think we're trying to do. I think it's a question, first of all, of being able to live with CF, so it's not life-threatening. If we've sorted that, then of course we can turn our attention to other bits, but the absolute focus has to be on the lung. And my intention is, and my belief is, that we will be able to take away those words life-threatening from the lung.